Welcome to my channel, guys, and today Fred Matiangi, the cabinet secretary in charge of interior security and coordination of the national government, was appearing before the National Assembly Parliamentary Committee on Administration of Justice, on Administration and Security. So, of course, he was going to respond to the reports about why the government decided to downgrade the security details of Deputy President William Ruto. Prior to that, Deputy President himself came out and he did not want actually that summoning to go on. He went on Twitter and said that the National Assembly was going to waste their time, and of course maybe that time was to be used to do the other things. I took my time and listened to the whole session where he was giving submission and trying to answer questions from the MPs. Now, in this video, I want to analyze 5 blunders that Matiangi did while responding to those questions. When he was asked about why the government downgraded the security details of Deputy President William Ruto, Matiangi decided to be diversionary. And being diversionary is, he did not actually answer why they downgraded the security details of Deputy President, but then opted to tell Kenyans why it is not there is no downgrading, since Deputy President is the most protected amongst the vice presidents in our history. And if you look at that list, amongst those deputy presidents or vice presidents, remember he is the first deputy president in the new constitutional dispensation from 2010. So it was only Raila that had 57 security personnel when he was the prime minister. The others are below 30 and below, the vice presidents rather. So my blunder number 1 was the blunder number 1 that Matiangi did was to disclose the number of security personnel that protects Deputy President. He was so categorical to say that unlike other vice presidents, William Ruto is protected with 257 police officers. This involves others, 3 layers. The first layer that is involved, the Presidential Escort Unit, which I believe is the Record Squad, the GSU, others protecting his territories and his properties, his homes and his properties. So why I think that was a blunder is because when you say that one person is protected the 257 police officers, then that is just the deputy president. How about the president of the country? How about the other leaders? So it is going to incite Kenyans against the government. The reason why I'm saying that is because you saw Junet Mohammed, who appeared in that committee as a guest, was asking why one person could have all those personnels while his constituency have around 80 police officers with dilapidated vehicles also. So revealing that is going to open questions, is going to open more questions too. The police to civilian ratio is compromised because, for one, if one person has all those police officers, so Kenyans are going to try to ask questions. Why is it that in some areas, like the rural areas, the number to police count is low, while there are many police officers that are attached to VIPs? Actually, he also disclosed and said that 4,000 police officers are the ones that protect the VIPs and the VVIPs. And out of those 4,000, 257 is attached to deputy president. So how about the others? So these are things that I think they were so sensitive, and it was also diversionary, because the question was never on the number. The question was why. That's my point. My point number 2 is revealing deputy president's properties. So I want to read for you that list, because he mentioned what deputy president owns, and why he was mentioning this is because there were other private businesses that belongs to the second in command that are protected by the police paid by the government. And of course I also dare ask that question. Really, if I work for government, for example, National Assembly, for example, let's say something that's owned by an MP or a speaker, that's a business, he collects that money, it is his own profit, but then how do you take taxpayers' money to pay police officers to protect that? So as much as, according to him, he was trying to defend, or rather tell Kenyans how the government is protecting the deputy president, little did he know that of course he was also exposing what the deputy president owns. And I want to tell you how that is going to play against the DP in the public space. He said Kitengela Gas Company, where 6 police officers are attached to, Western Hotel 4, Murumbi Farm in Transmara, Narok 6, ADC Laikipia Mutara Ranch 6 police officers, Dolphin Hotel in Mombasa that sits on big hectare of land 6 police officers, Mata Farm Taita Taveta 6 police officers, private residence Elgon View Eldoret 4 police officers, Koitalel Poultry Farm in Eldoret 4 police officers, private residence in Kosachei Eldoret 4 police officers, Kwale or Kwae Island Development Limited Wilson Airport 5 hangars, 3 hangars and 5 helicopters, or 5 hangars and 5 helicopters, 5 police officers. Why that was a blunder is because, for one, that is going, he already had done a lifestyle audit of the deputy president. Remember, the issue of the lifestyle audit amongst the public servants was a thorny issue in President Uhuru Kenyatta's second term, and there have been rallying call for the public servants to lay bare what they own. So the reason why I say that is a blunder is because of this, and people are going to ask why. And I think I saw that I saw someone asking, now that you've told us what I want, just want to get that tweet. Someone tweeted, is Eric Ndemangi said, Fred Matiang'i has produced documents indicating that Deputy Ruto has 2 hangars dedicated for his 5 helicopters parked at Wilson Airport. Na we uko hapo soko mjinga shouting hustler, and the only hangar you have is a malleable cloth hanger made from recycled Nairobi River waste. Okay, so it's going to work against him because, again, when people see what he owns, then people don't see the hustler nation. So that is a blunder that is going to disadvantage Deputy President's hustler nation, because the hustler narrative really belongs that someone who does, although we know that of course Ruto has a lot, but for him to sustain the viability of a hustler nation, then what he owns now should not be in the public limelight. So from where I'm standing, I think this was also done intentionally so that to tell Kenyans that, look here, the person you think is a hustler is not a hustler. Secondly, when you tell Kenyans what Ruto owns, Kenyans tend to ask you, and if you look at Twitter, some of the trending hashtags there, Kenyans are now asking, what does Mudavadi own? What does Kalonzo Musyoka own? What does President Uhuru Kenyatta own? What does Raila Odinga own? And when people ask those questions, it waters down the relevance of you telling Kenyans what deputy president owns. I like the fact that he said that he was not going to say everything because others he went and did behind the cameras when journalists actually left the chamber. And I believe that was in the interest of security of the country. And that is something that someone might actually ask. I saw a tweet. I want to read you a tweet by Frederick Mutiriri. This is a journalist who tweeted and said this: politicization of security system is dangerous. A cop's perspective. You can never disclose how a VIP is secured. The Interior CS Fred Matiang'i has disclosed to the nation how many police officers are attached to the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. So when you tell Kenyans the number, I think people tend to know that you have exposed him. Although we know that to the end of his remarks, he said that there is nothing like that. Third point is, unlike Peter Kaluma, who tried to speak and tried to interrogate that question with structures in the frameworks of the law, Matiangi, Fred Matiang'i, also spoke about how the political leaders in the country have used that, because according to them it was a normal realignment, have used that normal realignment saga as a political tool to seek sympathy. So even in the face of a normal realignment in the government that he serves, he must still get a political angle. And of course, people now think that Matiang'i, or William Ruto handlers think that Matiang'i responded on a personal basis. Another point is, this one also addressed the loopholes in our legislation to make sure that security personnel VIPs is actually regulated. There is no legislation or law that has a cap, or there is no cap. There is no law that caps the number of security personnel that can be attached to a VIP. And so, the reason why he did the blunder is because when actually he pleaded with the committee to make sure that they pass a legislation that is going to regulate and control the number of police officers, or rather the criterion of picking police VIPs to attach to police officers to be attached to a VIP, it only means that there was a loophole. And I did the tweet and someone asked me, so if there was the loophole on the number of VIPs that can be sent to a politician, or to the number of police officers that can be sent to a VIP, then who abused that loophole? It only means that then the government, or rather the police, had a luxury of reducing or rather downgrading the deputy president's security details, because there is no law. So if at some point, like I think he mentioned there, that even there's a point where a president also ordered or asked the IG to send for some additional police officers to deputy president, and of course, when that happened, when a president can make a call and that can happen, what only means is that there were some loopholes there that needed to be filled. I want to complete by a tweet by Millicent Omanga, and this Millicent Omanga actually addressed this loophole, this blunder, and he said, instead of explaining to Kenyans why the government withdrew DP Ruto's security, the CS Interior went to Parliament to tabulate his properties for political expediency. Now tell us what others own and security deployment to those properties. I think this tweet summarizes all those I was talking about. That the issue does not now changes from a structural question to a political question. Because if you don't say why, and you go and say there is no law, then it only means that you had loopholes in the security. You have the loopholes, or at personal level, you had the loopholes to just change or alter the deputy president's security structure. That is my opinion. And guys, if you've also followed that, where do you think it's wrong? Alright, so in my next video, stick around, because in my next video, I'm going to tally Ole Itumbi and Alai analysis about, there's a video that I've emerged of Alai, and there's some also reports that was given by Itumbi. So we are going to tabulate the two and tell you what really that means. Make sure you subscribe.